Hi everybody, and welcome back to RM Shoots. This is the first real episode of The Gear Locker. I'm your host Sean, and I'm coming to you live from the Valley of the Unshaved. This video is sort of a combination of a couple different ideas that we've had lately to do little rundowns of our gear and our setups, both equipment that we use regularly and also equipment that we've tried out and didn't like for one reason or another, or figure is just too damn good for us. So I figured the best way to kick off this series is to dive straight into it, rip the band-aid off so to speak, and give you guys a little rundown of my current battle belt setup. This is my belt. There are many like it, but this one is mine. The primary directive for this setup is economy. This stuff gets very expensive very quickly. Nothing, however, in this system is very expensive, and dare I say, most of it is incredibly cheap. So let's just go point by point. First and foremost, the belt itself. I got it from Amazon for around $30. I think it was 30 even, it might have come out to be $32. Now that's as bottom of the barrel that I think I'm willing to go. It is from a company called Aikate. They make a lot of tactical items, a lot of deep concealment holsters, and a bicycle seat too, which is kind of interesting. I think they're just a general production sort of company, and the only place you can really find them is Amazon. So, point being, it does come with a couple nice features. A must for this kind of thing is a Cobra style buckle, which this very much is a Cobra style buckle. It says PAT, but has no patent number. So I'm assuming that they just did that as a formality, but it works the same way that a Cobra belt buckle proper works. Very easy to don and doff. And this one is fairly sturdy feeling, but it already has some play in it. It kind of started with a little bit of wiggle to it, and it is only sort of getting worse over time. So I'd imagine its lifespan is not going to be nearly the same as an official real deal buckle. But for my use case, that doesn't matter a whole lot. So ultimately, this belt is attractive because it comes with all of the normal features that you would expect from a battle belt. However, for the price point, I was impressed that it came with two different inner belt options. The first, and the one that I use, is the padded liner. It attaches to the inside of the belt with Velcro, or if we're trying to avoid industry terminology, hook and loop. So one side is the hook or loop. Nobody can prove it one way or the other. And the other side is the opposite. Now you stick them together just as I have unstuck them, and the inside of the liner is padded and has a grippy material. Again, not the finest grippy material there might be in the world, but it still functions. The purpose of this is to prevent you from having this hook and or loop scratching against whatever outfit it is that you have underneath this belt, and also to apply a little bit more positive grip so the belt doesn't shift around quite as much. It's not very even there, but you get the idea. It sticks on like that. The second option, which is impressive that it came with, because a lot of other selections at this price point don't think about this, but it also included a slightly more rigid through the belt loop inner belt. This does not have the grippy material, okay? This is smooth, this side, and then the other side is the hook and or loop. And the purpose of this is to thread in your belt loops first and then stick to this belt just like that inner belt does. Some people find that it provides a little bit more rigidness, or it doesn't move around on your waist as much. The main purpose of this is certain types of competition. Shooting competition requires that your gun belt is actually threaded through your belt loops. So the fact that this comes with this $30 setup is really nice. I don't ever really use it. I've used it a couple times to try it out, but I do prefer the method of having a trouser belt holding my trousers up and then this just going right around it and not having to worry about that. But still, again, very nice that you are given these options. So moving to my gear. Everything that you see before you is very budget friendly, and that's obviously intentional. We'll start with the first, most important piece, my holster. This is a Tasmanian Tiger holster. That's a German company. They make all kinds of equipment. The best feature that I appreciate is the retentiveness. Now, this is an old school thumb brake style holster, so it's not as fast as a Kydex holster. or any real competition holster made of whatever material it's made of. But this guarantees without a shadow of a doubt that your gun is going to stay in the holster. If I knew how to, I would do cartwheels on this and my gun would stay right where it's at. The thumb brake works by using your thumb. It's difficult from this position, but you split your thumb in between here and it pops it open. Just a little snap. And there's also this hook and loop Velcro. I'm just gonna call it Velcro, how about that? Velcro piece that straps over the top of the back strap like this. You can use this to pull it away to open the snap. It's also sort of there as a little extra insurance that it's not gonna unsnap accidentally. The second thing about this holster that's very nifty is just the sheer amount of pistols that you can wield with it. It is entirely adjustable using Velcro, and I'll demonstrate now. These wings open up like this, and then inside, we have an adjustable muzzle strap, I guess. So you change the length of this to determine how long of a pistol you can fit inside it. And then after that, you use these two wings to adjust the width of the pistol. In addition to the basic setup of this holster, I use the extra length of MOLLE that goes underneath it to attach a thigh strap, which is a scavenged sternum strap from my backpack. It works wonders. In front of it, I have attached a single Tasmanian Tiger pistol magazine pouch that I never really use, but it's actually kind of nifty. It's pretty decent for like a little flashlight or something like that, but I don't really use it for my magazines because moving to the other side of my groinular area, we have my magazine pouches. So primarily, I'm using Miltech equipment on this belt. The reason for that is that this double pistol pouch, I think was 10 bucks, and this single rifle pouch was I think $7, maybe $8. Prices may have fluctuated, but at least when I bought these, they were around $10. It's incredible because they seem sturdy. I'd imagine the stitches would be the thing that would fail first, but besides that, all the features are there. These are over-the-top Velcro closed pouches. The exact terminology I'm not exactly sure of, but they work to keep your mags very secure. Now it's already a snug fit in there, which is nice. And then over the top means that that thing is not going anywhere. Case in point, those are very secure. A lot of people would be the first to tell you that Miltech is airsoft stuff. But you know what? You don't need to spend a fortune to get into this, and that's kind of the whole point. The next down the line is the rifle pouch, primarily for 223, 556, whatever the heck you want to call it, Stanag mags. Now this is an open top pouch that uses a bit of shock cord as retention. Now the idea behind this is that the open top pouches are generally more retentive on their own. You see, it's pretty decent, not bad. It's wiggling out slowly, but given any form of general use, it's not going to come out based on its own tension, its own, what's the word that I'm looking for? Its own grip. It is included with this little shock cord that goes off with this cute little tab that you can pull over just for a little extra security. So the only issue with this, and this is where I start saying Miltech's cheapness does start showing, the quality of the shock cord is as such that it is already kind of loose. The elasticity of it isn't great. So often when I'll use it and I'll have it seated on the magazine as such, it just sort of, I'll find that it will have slipped off naturally on its own. That can either range from a non-issue to a very big issue, depending on how often you check your gear while you're doing whatever and the lengths that you're wearing the equipment in the first place. But overall, this is still pretty nice. The other drawback to it is that these are a lot more difficult to get things back into. Okay, so first of all, you have to get it past the shock cord, which means fiddling around and moving it out of the way. And then even after you do that, the internals of this do not have rigid sides. So it is all the Cordura, nylon, whatever material it actually is, and it's not entirely rigid. You have to kind of wiggle it in there and defeat all of these weird, bendy, soft points of contact. So easy to pull out, fast to remove magazines, but kind of a pain in the butt to get them back in there. That's not so much of an issue because next in line, I have my Miltech dump pouch. Now, what is a dump pouch? If you're not initiated into the glory of it, it is a pouch that you dump stuff into. And again, my case for this cheap bag, and what you get for that is strong-ish, or strong enough, I should say, pouch with a drain holes in it, just in case you get rained on. A pull cord to tighten and close the mouth of, to keep stuff in there secure. And basically, it's a bag that you throw stuff in. It can fit a lot, and when you're doing a fast reload and you're not really concerned with getting the magazine back in place, but you also don't want to throw it on the ground, you have this pouch that you can throw whatever you want in like that. Again, points to Miltech for being able to provide completely functional stuff for really cheap. Eventually, the Miltech stuff is going to fail, and I don't know how long that's going to be. I'll probably have replaced it with fancier stuff before it actually breaks on me. I think I said my holster was the most important, but let's just be real here. This is probably the most important piece of kit that I have on this belt. My first aid, both the mount / hanger and the IFAK itself are Versteleca's Sarma. It has this clip on it just to make sure it stays on there, but primarily it's held on there with Velcro. So this is their quick release tear off or rip off. I can't remember. I don't like saying rip off because it sounds like it's a rip off, but IFAK. And inside it I have a lot of the most basic stuff, basically. I don't have anything really advanced. But having this kind of stuff on hand for admittedly mostly minor cuts and scrapes and stuff like that, if there is a traumatic situation where there's a severe incident, let's just call it, this stuff, having this kind of basic stuff on hand is better than having nothing at all. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I am in no way a trauma expert, and I am not the person that you should be asking first aid advice from. And the more you scrutinize my kit, probably you shouldn't even ask for advice on how to build first aid kits. But long story short, that's there. The tourniquet is in this pouch as well. Most people prefer to have a tourniquet to be more easily accessible, and that usually will either go on their chest carrier or on their belt somewhere. But I have my tourniquet in here because I'm generally shooting with other people, so in the event of my loss of red water, somebody will be able to get access to this, even if I can't. So there's that. There's two offerings from Versteleca for their hangers for this. This is the vertical one, as you can see. I would prefer a horizontal one for the purpose of the belt. As you can see, it has more width than it kind of needs height, I guess I should say. But I'm actually mostly running this on the belt now. I'm just kind of trying it out because normally I have this on sort of my kidney area of my plate carrier. So this usually is not on my belt, but I'm trying it out for the time being, and I figured that it'd be good to talk about it now. So while there is really nothing profound about this setup, it works very well for the price. I mean, if you were to add all of this stuff up, and we're averaging here, the most expensive stuff is the Sarma stuff for my first aid kit, which, you know, you could cheap out on. There's one pouch holds something almost as good as another pouch, but you can still see the upgrade in the quality of materials and the stitching and the laser cutting and all that kind of stuff when it comes to the Sarma gear versus the Miltech gear. I think that goes without saying. However, if you feel intimidated by the fact that, for instance, the Sarma TST battle belt system alone costs more than the majority of the stuff that I have hanging on this belt plus the belt, you can still find something to get you into this sport for relatively cheap. I have tried out different things. For instance, I've been using barrel ball equipment for a little while too, sort of cycling stuff around, both on my carrier and on my belt. And barrel ball is very good, and I'm going to have some more information about them coming up fairly soon, because for now, these really cheap ones are good enough. Will my life be visibly improved if I upgrade? Probably not. It's what I would dare to say is a measurable difference, but it's less observable. So if I were to go up against people that have the top of the line equipment, I would be laughed at for all of this stuff, but I still think that the overall ability or skill of the shooter, which I would also, in fairness, be laughed at if I went up against the best guys, still overrides the quality of the gear that he's using. On Versteleca, you can find their in-house produced equipment, which is very, very good. Everything that I use from them is amazing, but also the cheaper stuff that most people say is for airsofters, but it's good for practical shooters as well. if I did have to criticize the overall system here, it would be the belt. There's a couple different methods, and I'm no expert on any given one of these things or the proper terminology, but there's a couple different methods for PALS webbing. There's stitched and there's laser cuts. Now, this has stitched webbing, and the webbing itself is functional, but there's already some slop in it, basically from new. And I can tell that if anything is gonna fail on this, it's gonna be the stitching of some of these slots on the PALS. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's incredibly cheap, so you get what you pay for. If this thing lasts me a couple years, or even 1 year of practical shooting, I mean, it's worth the investment. In the near future, we hope to bring you more gear-oriented videos and talk about the possible synergy between the belt and the aforementioned plate carrier system. Because in my opinion, it starts getting very fascinating when you dive into the nit and gritty of the systems that surround the firearms that we choose to perform their duties. And I think it's just as important. So I really hope everyone has enjoyed hearing me prattle on about my kit and the reasons why I have assembled it as such. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to us if you want to see more content like this, and check out some of our other shooting sports stuff that we do. So anyway, I will catch you next time. This has been RM Shoots.